Hi everyone, it's Emily, and today I'll be opening up some new games from GameStop. GameStop had a pretty awesome sale last week where many of their games that released within the past 2 years were either 50 or 75% off. And late at night when this came up, I partook in the sale, and this is all that they've sent me so far. So right now I have 8 of the 9 games I ordered, but as many of you know, GameStop is pretty notorious for sending so-called new games that have already been opened. These copies are usually what's in their physical stores that they just keep on display. For some reason, GameStop thinks it's okay just to send those off and claim that they're brand new. But what has me more concerned is there seems to be a recent influx of generic cases floating around with new stickers slapped onto them. I'm really hoping that all of these are at least complete in box, if not sealed. I've kind of given up hope that most of these will be sealed, but we'll kind of see. I'll have a little counter of how I do. I ended up ordering 9 new games from them, but they've only shipped 8 of them so far to me. I'm still waiting on one more, which I guess I'll share in another video. But if you want to cast your predictions of what's actually inside these 2 packages, how many of the 8 are brand new sealed, opened, but complete box, or with a generic case, let me know down below and see if your predictions were correct or not. So of these 2 packages, this one contains 3 Switch games, releases that came out within the past year and a half. And this has a mix of Switch games, but mostly I think PS5 games, which I think is a great deal, especially for many of these games which have been on my wish list since they've released. So I'm excited to finally have them and get to them at some point. So I'm going to begin with this rather oversized box because these were the first 5 games I ordered in the middle of the night when this sale started. And these are the ones I'm probably most excited about because of just how good the deals were. One thing that already has me concerned is this is a rather large box for 5 standard sized games. I didn't order any of the collector editions that they had on sale or other kind of special day 1 editions that had additional boxes and whatnot attached to them. And we did a little shake test. There is a piece of paper that's kind of allowing everything to stay put, but there's still a lot of empty space in here. So hopefully all these games are intact and not cracked just due to transportation. So I'm gonna dig them out blindly so that we're both surprised to see what comes out. Okay, so this first game I think is a sealed one. And it is, and I ended up buying Forspoken, and it came brand new sealed. So it's one for the sealed tally. I know this game got a ton of hate when it came out earlier this year, but there's some people that I trust that have played this game and said that there are flaws with it, but it's still a really fun experience. So I believe I paid $17.50 for this, and I think that's a pretty good deal. I do think as we approach the holiday season, especially around Black Friday, this game will probably drop down to 15, or it might even drop down to 10 if they're really trying to get rid of it in some of the stores. But I think $17.50 is pretty fair for a game that's released at $70 earlier this year. But let me know if you played Forspoken yet and what your thoughts were and if you think it was worth picking up or not. I am interested in more of the combat system, I think, of this game rather than the narrative and story, because some of the mechanics look kind of fun. When I get to it, I'll let you guys know my overall thoughts and whether or not this game is worth getting at a discounted price or not. All right, so next game, let's see, is one that is not sealed, I feel. And that is Labyrinth of Galleria, the Moon Society. And I'm glad that it's not in a generic case. So let me open it up and see what it looks like inside. The case does have some noticeable scratches on the back, which is really unfortunate. But when you open it up, it does have, I guess, the little piece of paper here, and it's a reversible cover art. And I've noticed that this game is going out of stock at a lot of retailers. The Switch version is no longer listed on Best Buy, and I've noticed that it's only offered by third-party sellers on Amazon, so it's always a gamble whether or not you'll get the ESRB copy or not when ordering from third-party sellers. So I'm a little torn about whether or not I should try to return this because I can always replace the scratched up case, and I don't think this game is going to be very easy to find very soon, even though it came out, what, February of this year? You'll notice the bulk of this order is a lot of Square Enix and NAS America titles. As I mentioned a few times on this channel, NAS America is a publisher that I really try to prioritize because a lot of their games go out of print very quickly. We've seen that with a lot of the Trails games that they published, along with many others, including the first game that actually came out in the series, Labyrinth of Refrain. It's very difficult to find that available on the Nintendo Switch right now that's not used and marked up. So this game is a first-person dungeon crawler, and I do own the first one, so I really wanted to get this also on the Switch while I was still able to. And this game was 50% off, so it ended up being $25, which I think is a really good price for a game that I think is going to go out of print soon and out of stock everywhere. And you really can't go wrong with, I think, NAS America JRPG titles for the most part. All right, so next game. Let's hope it's a sealed one. And this feels like a sealed one. And that is a Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion. Now, I've actually been a bit on a Final Fantasy VII kick. I've been trying to wrap up my OG7 gameplay on, which I have digitally on my Switch. I'm getting very close, and I'm hoping to play the remake soon, but I've been told that I should play Crisis Core Reunion before getting to the remake. This was originally a PSP title that they remade onto modern platforms, and I really wanted to get this on the PS5 rather than the Switch, which is where it's also available, and I've heard it runs just fine. But I just wanted to have a consistent platform where most of the Final Fantasy VII games will go on, so I thought it made sense to buy this on the PS5, even though it was originally a handheld game and should play just fine on the Switch. But yeah, I'm really pleased that this is sealed. I've been trying to get Final Fantasy VII Remake on the PS5, and I'm waiting for Square Enix to reprint that, especially with Rebirth coming out early next year. I don't know why they haven't done it yet, but maybe eventually they will, just so that I can replace my PS4 copy with that. So I think it just has to be a little bit more patient. But all the Final Fantasy VII hype just has me really excited for the new game coming out next year, so I'm hoping to play all these other Final Fantasy VII related games before that comes out. All right, now on to, what is this? Game 4. And this is not sealed. And it is another Final Fantasy game. So this is Stranger of Paradise. Now there's a lot of criticism with this game as well from Square Enix. And let's see how the disc looks. So there is a small dent on the back here. It's not the worst though. I could definitely live with that. And it does have all the warning stuff there. And let's look at the disc. Okay, so the disc I think just has like a fingerprint. So that's not bad either. So there's no scratches, thankfully. So I will be keeping this. I paid $10 for this, which I think is a good price for this game just to try it out. After beating Final Fantasy 16 earlier this summer, I've been a bit on a Final Fantasy kick and wanting to play more of the games. This does seem like a more experimental title of Square Enix. I'm trying to see how Final Fantasy will translate into more of an action RPG like they did with Final Fantasy 16. This one, I do hear the characters and story are more on the generic side. The gameplay is fun. So we'll see how this one goes. But yeah, I'm happy to start building up more of my Final Fantasy backlog. And I'm hoping to finally experience them all since back in the day I only really played 12. So it'll be really interesting to see how the other games fare. All right, so the last game in this box. Let's see what it looks like. Okay. Thankfully, it is sealed. And another Square Enix title. And we have Star Ocean here, the Divine Force. Star Ocean is one of the Square Enix franchises I haven't experienced yet, so I figured the Divine Force, which had pretty positive reviews last year, is a good jumping point to kind of see how I like it. I really enjoy fantasy RPGs with a sci-fi twist to them, and I think this involves aliens or something, and different planets and whatnot. And with the new remake coming out soon for the second game, which is supposed to be, I hear, the pinnacle of the franchise, I'm really excited to get more into this franchise and see how I like it overall. So overall, I'm pretty pleased. 3 of the games came sealed for fantastic prices. And then 2 of these games did not come sealed, but at least they're complete in box. And I think I'm gonna be keeping them despite them not technically being new. It's just such a hassle to contact GameStop, especially if you don't have a store that's local to you. I suppose I can try to contact them online or by phone or something, but it's such a hassle, and I think with these games I don't really need to be too nitpicky. Though I do encourage anyone that if you order from GameStop and receive something that's not satisfactory, definitely try to contact them to get a refund or something. It's definitely, I think, an avenue most people do not utilize as much as they should. All right, so now we're down to this last package arrived in this envelope, which I hate bubble mailers. I always have the worst luck and get cracked cases in these, but hopefully these are okay. These are all Switch games that released within the past year, year and a half, so relatively new. One's a Square Enix title, one is an NAS title, and one's another publisher, which I'll show when it comes out. So first game is the other publisher one. So I have Genesis Noir here, and it is opened. It looks like whatever GameStop it came from, they already attempted to remove the sticker, but there's still some residue left over, so I'll have to clean that up with some Goo Gone. But this is a title published by Serenity Forge, and it's kind of like a point-and-click noir adventure. And I just love the art style. I've actually found it very difficult to find just the standard copy of this, because on Amazon, I think they only list the big collector's edition. That's humongous, and I definitely don't have the space for that. But the standard edition has been very difficult to track down, except on GameStop. And thankfully this was only $20. It's I think regularly $40, so it was half off. And that's the lowest price I've seen it. All right, so there are some weird punctures in the bottom of the case here, which is unfortunate. I know online Nintendo offers just generic Switch cases you could buy in bulk. So I've been thinking of just doing that for some of my Switch games that arrive in not such great condition. But inside, it looks like it still has these stickers, as well as this lenticular card, which is really neat. And I want to say this is a poster. There's some questionable gunk on it. And the inside cover art is top-notch as well. As I mentioned with the last package, I don't think there's enough at fault here for me to go through the hassle of returning it. Again, because I've had such a difficult time trying to find just the standard copy of this game everywhere. But I've heard really good reviews of this, and I'm looking forward to giving this a shot. Okay, so the next game here is a sealed game, and that is Tactics Ogre. And so this is the remake or the reborn version. I think they've remade this a few times now. They did it on the PSP, and so this is the new one that's on the Switch, I think, as well as the PS4 and PS5. And from what I hear, this is a notoriously difficult strategy RPG from Square Enix. And I really do enjoy strategy RPGs, so I'm curious, I guess, if my skills are up to par. I have played, for example, Fire Emblem games on hard mode before, so I feel like I should be okay. If not, I probably could look up strategies of how to get through some of the more difficult levels, where I hear there's some like level caps or something. That's what really makes it difficult. But I'm pleased that I'm still building up my strategy RPG collection. I feel like there's so many more games that I still haven't picked up yet. It's just great how much the Switch in particular has had so many releases for that subgenre. But of course, this is always just adding to the never-ending backlog that someday I'll eventually, hopefully, get to. So last but not least is the NAS title that I picked up. And unfortunately, it is opened, but it is Process of Elimination. It looks like the same GameStop attempted to take off the sticker on here as well. So my guess is these stickers used to say pre-owned, but I don't see any new stickers on actually any of the games I picked up in these 2 packages. So let's see what it looks like inside. I forgot to mention prices, but Tactics Ogre as well as Process Elimination were both $25 each. That was during the 50% off sale. And when it comes to the case condition, there is an indent on the back, but it's very minor compared to the other ones that I've seen today. And inside, it does look like someone closed this improperly, so the OST is a little bit crumpled. but it does include the little mini art book, which is good, as well as the reversible art cover. Now, I've heard a lot of mixed things about this visual novel. A lot of people were hyping it up as something that's sort of like Danganronpa, very detective, methodical, but kind of weird scenario visual novels. But the few reviews that I've seen online have kind of mentioned that some of the gameplay and mystery stuff was a little bit esoteric, or rather they didn't really seem to make a lot of sense and they weren't really fun to play through. So I'm hoping that my playthrough will be a bit more positive than some of their experiences. I do believe this is actually a Nippon Ichi software game, so I do want to support more of those games to get localized over here because they have so many cool ones that are just tucked away in Japan. But yeah, hopefully my experience with this game is a bit more positive than what I've seen so far online. And there we have it. Looks like we have a 50-50 split of sealed games and open games, but with cases, thankfully. So far, it seems like I've dodged the bullet of getting a generic case with a brand new sticker just slapped on top of it. But let me know if you've also ordered new games from GameStop and how your experience went. I just feel so sorry for all those who receive the generic cases in the mail. And while I think it's still an awful practice to send out open games and label them as new, especially in a time where I think collectors are really caring about the things that they buy from these game stores, I think it's even more repulsive to send out these used pre-owned games in generic cases and then claim that they're new. From what I've heard, most people who contest it to GameStop do get replacements or at least refunds for these games. You just kind of have to wonder why they still do this. Is it just to catch those who don't want to contest it and let it slide? Or they're able to front that cost of replacing these games, which I can't imagine they're able to. So who knows what will happen to GameStop in the coming years. If we're seeing things continue like this, where they're not sending out pre-order benefits to those who pre-order, and they're not even sending out new games to people, they're just sending out pre-owned and claiming they're new. I just can't imagine GameStop lasting for that much longer, at least here in the US. Anyway, thankfully my experience wasn't as bad as many others, and I really do empathize with anyone who had a worse experience than I did. But yeah, let me know if you also ordered games from GameStop recently and were expecting them to arrive new, but they didn't. And I have a lot of exciting videos planned for the rest of this month. One of them should be a tier making video of all the games I played since my last update. And I also have another exciting video coming out in about 2 weeks that is more of a giving back kind of video that I'm really excited for. So look forward to all those and more. And until my next video, bye guys.